What's going on, everybody? I got a very special guest, the executive producer of the Sports Hit List, Carl Kalanch. Carl, how are we doing, bro?
I'm doing good, Mr. Falco. I see you got some new digs over there, man. Shout out to the shirt. It looks great.
Thank you. So last night, Luka Doncic had a 36-point triple-double, beating the Milwaukee Bucks 136 to 132 in overtime. The Bucks blew a 7-point lead with under 2 minutes left. So, Carl, I ask you, did my comments about the Bucks in my last post prove me right last night?
You know what? We're still in the bubble, and it's really interesting because the bubble has been great. I thought, and I'll be the first to admit I was wrong. I thought the not having the fans would be an impact, but the guys seem to be more focused. They seem to be more in tune with what's going on in the game. There's not a lot of distractions. I don't think one game dictates what the Bucks will do in the playoffs, number one. Number two, they face the Western Conference team. So a team that they're really not going to see unless you're predicting that the Mavs are making it out of the West, which we all know that's not going to happen. So I think teams are still trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. It was a big game, and Luka Doncic showed what he can do in the league, and he's amazing. And I think he's got a bright future. And I believe the league is his, and the league is already his, and he doesn't even know it.
Well, saying what works, Giannis Antetokounmpo playing under 30 minutes every single game, 68 out of the 70 games is not going to cut in the playoffs. We know that they've won, of their 55 games, 37 of those games, they won by 10 or more points. So they're not used to playing tight games. Like I said before, they don't know how to play in tight games. They don't have a real closer. When you're up 7 points with less than 2 minutes, there's no excuse to lose that lead. I don't care that it's a Western Conference team or that the game doesn't mean anything. Everyone's getting ready for the playoffs. If they didn't care about it, Giannis and Middleton and all their starters wouldn't be in the game. So I think this is just a little preview of what we're going to see in the playoffs, because I think your Boston Celtics have a real chance to beat them. I don't sleep on the Heat. And the Raptors have championship experience. Pascal Siakam took a huge step up. Kyle Lowry, Van Vliet, they have veteran experience. So there's a lot of teams I could see upsetting the Bucks. And last night was exactly what I was talking about. They do not have a closer. You can't trust the ball with Giannis because he can't shoot. He doesn't have a post game. And Middleton, I don't think he's a closer either. He's not that guy where late in the game you could try to give him the ball and say, take me to the promised land, hit me the game-winning shot.
I honestly think the one thing that we haven't discussed, and African Paul Miscleo, shout out to him in the Sports Hit List group, he said this, and people yelled at him for saying Budenholzer is overrated. I don't know if Budenholzer is a coach. He may get out-coached. And I think that's one factor that we don't talk about is you need an X's and O's guys who's been in clutch situations, who knows how to close games. Eric Spoelstra, and I know Andres is going to be raving when I say this, but Eric Spoelstra has been in those situations. You know, he coached the Heat. He's been coaching the Heat since Pat Riley stepped down in, I believe, 2007 or 2008, around that time. Led them to 2 championships. They went to 4 finals in four years in a row. He's been in those situations. He was toothless under Pat Riley. Budenholzer is a pop guy, and you'd expect him to do better in those closeout moments. So I think we need to pay attention to the coaching and see who's going to play the game. Clearly, Giannis is going to play a lot more minutes when it comes down to the playoff games. But I think coaching is highly underrated, especially in clutch situations. You have guys like Doc Rivers. Brad Stevens has been, he had his team in a Game 7 situation in the Eastern Conference Championship. So I think the X's and O's is definitely going to play a factor. And we know your rotation is going to shrink. You're going to use 7 to 8 guys. You're not going to play your whole bench. So I think the others, they have to step up as well. You know, Brook Lopez has to have a great game. Robin Lopez has to play great.
Yesterday.
So those guys also, and we know Brook Lopez, when he's hitting shots. Brook Lopez can hit a 3-pointer now. He could also play the paint. So Giannis needs his others. Yes, Giannis has to step up, but the others is just as important to help him get to the finals. And again, and you said it best, I honestly couldn't put my finger. Yes, I could sit here and say my team, but I honestly don't know who's going to make it out the East. It's just you have no idea, because you look at it. The Raptors beat the Lakers the other night, and the Lakers are a contender, but then the Celtics beat the Raptors by 20. So it's like you just don't know. I think it comes down to the matchups. And even Philly now. Philly just lost Ben Simmons. And does that make them better or does that make them worse? Because
I think they're a fraud to begin with. I think the 76ers are fraud to begin with.
Yeah, so I don't see the Eastern Conference is completely wide open. I wouldn't sleep on the Bucks just yet. Yes, last year Kawhi, took it to them, but this is Giannis's year to redeem himself from that, and he doesn't have a Kawhi Leonard in his way. Who's going to get in his way? You could pair them up with the Boston Celtics, but again, Marcus, he's going to probably praise me for saying this. He's right. Who's going to guard him? We have the Celtics have issues guarding bigs. You know, the Raptors still have bigs themselves, but can they stop Giannis without having Kawhi Leonard there to? And as much as you like believe in Pascal, is he a closer? He has to be that guy. They don't have that go-to guy to give them a bucket down the stretch. I don't know if it's Pascal yet. You get what I'm saying? So
I don't think the Raptors getting in the East, and I don't think the Bucks are. I actually think the Celtics is bad.
I'm not saying my team's getting out the East because listen, I've been saying it for every single year for the last 10 years. This is the first year I'm not predicting them to win, and this reverse psychology will work. So I'm not saying they're winning this year. They're not getting out the East. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's going to be a healthy, competitive basketball coming down in the Eastern Conference.
Back to coaching about Budenholzer. I actually blame him for the Eastern Conference Finals meltdown last year. He made no adjustment. When they built the wall and they didn't let Giannis get in the paint, they forced him to shoot jump shots. He made no adjustment. He still had Giannis bring up the ball, tried to make it paint going downhill to the rim, which it didn't work, and he made no adjustment for 4 straight games. And that's why they ultimately got swept 4 games in a row after being up 2-0. That's why I keep saying I want to see Giannis in the post. If he can have a post game, the Bucks will be unbeatable. No one could guard him. Nobody can match up with him one-on-one.
You know what? I've been saying that a lot too. I said that before, and before you arrived in the group, in the Hit List group, I said this. I'm like, why does Giannis need to shoot? And everyone's like, well, this is the new game, and he has to learn to adapt. And Shaq says it too all the time. At Giannis' size, does he really need to shoot? I don't think he does, but a lot of people would disagree and say he does. But again, I say don't sleep on them yet. And I think you're counting them out too early because of last year. I'm not counting them out this year because the games still need to be played. Clearly, they can get to the second round, and their second round matchup will either be against Miami. Whoever gets out of the way the bracket is, the 1 and 8 places the 4 and 5.
Right.
So Miami's 4th. They play Indiana now, and you know they got T.J. Warren, the bubble MVP. T.J. Warren is playing great.
Best player
right, yeah. So the Bucks heading into clearly they're going to get to the second round. Their second round matchup will be the definitive factor because they'd have to face the Pacers or they'd have to face the Heat, and then the conference championship would either be Toronto or Boston because Boston would have to play. Given that if Boston gets past the second round, they would basically have to play Toronto in the second round. So your second round matchup potentially looks like Toronto, Boston versus Milwaukee, Indiana, or Heat. And I honestly can't pick between the way no one anticipated T.J. Warren playing the way he is. And I hate to see because before the bubble, you could clearly say it was Miami. But now you're like, wait a minute, T.J. Warren is playing great, and you don't know who's going to win out of that series. So it's a coin toss at this point.
Going back to the Bucks, we said in our group chat that all of us argued with. I said that LeBron and Anthony Davis should probably play 30 minutes a night, 25 to 30 minutes a night just to get their legs under them. But then Giannis has been doing that all year long. And you said that LeBron and Anthony Davis need to play more minutes to get their legs underneath you and get ready for the postseason because that's what they're going to be playing in the postseason. They'll be probably playing 40-plus minutes, especially the second round of Western Conference Finals. There's no excuse for that. So Giannis Antetokounmpo has played 37 minutes or more twice in 70 games this season. So if he's not doing it the entire season and he's still not doing it in the bubble, why when the playoffs come, he's going to be able to flip a switch, go 40-plus minutes, have a higher usage rate, and then close out games like that? That's why I don't believe in the Bucks.
Well, here's what I say. I think part of the issue is the Bucks have a large margin of victory. Where's Andres when you need him? He probably has his stat.
I got it. It's 30,
Thank you.
It's 37 wins of 10 or plus more points that they won.
So when you have that statistic, right, why would you need your superstar to play more than 30 minutes? Your goal is to get him some rest. So I think those large marks of points of winning, there's no point in keeping him on the floor when you're winning. For example, the other night when the Celtics played the Raptors, I was watching Kemba, right? We were going into the fourth quarter, and the Celtics were up by like 25-26. And I'm thinking to myself, why is Brad Stevens keeping Kemba in the game? And then the reporter legit got on the microphone and said, you know what? Kemba's on a restrictive minutes because he has knee pains. And originally, when the bubble started, they started him at 25 a game. Yeah. They started him at 20 minutes a game. Then they moved him up to 25, and then now they got him at 30. So he just wants to be able to get his legs underneath him. I think for Giannis, because the Bucks have been, winning by 10 or more is a large margin. So I think that's why he's been resting. And will he get used to playing longer minutes as he has to in the playoffs? I think he's young enough that he can. So the fact that Giannis doesn't need to play more than 30 is the reason why they played him at the 30-minute pace, because they're winning. Unless they're losing and they need him in the game in those clutch situations, that's why he would play him.
Yeah, but if you're doing something that you're not used to doing, I don't think you can just snap your fingers and flip a switch and be like, oh, I'm going to play 42 minutes tonight and ball out like I always do. It's a different – the playoffs are just so much different than the regular season. They're not going to blow teams out. Maybe the first –
I agree. But again, there's no point – but as a coach, you have to understand And again, I'm not in those situations, but you also have to understand between rest and playing him to play those longer minutes. Giannis has played those younger minutes before in the playoffs. 2 years ago, I believe they went to 7 games with the Celtics.
They did.
Was it 2 years ago, right? In 18. In 18 in the first round, they went 7 games with the Celtics. Last year, they had an extended playoff run. They went to the conference championship. So his body's used to playing those minutes. I don't think that's a problem. I just think in those pressure situations, and as you said, which is true, can Giannis be your closer? You need a closer in those games. You need a closer. You need someone that you can go to that can get you a bucket. That's a Kawhi. That's a LeBron. That's a Harden. That's a Steph. So can Giannis be that one guy to do it? The question mark is still there for them. And again, like I said, don't sleep on them yet because they are the number 1 seed. They do potentially have the back-to-back MVP, and their others have been playing great. Chris Middleton is a all-star. So all year they've looked great. Again, the East is wide open, so I honestly can't say that they're going to lose it. But would you be surprised if they did? Probably not, because there are other teams in the Eastern Conference who are just as good.
To wrap up today, I just want to leave off that it's just like the Bucks are the best team in the NBA in terms of their record, and they should be the clear-cut favorite to win the title on paper. But then you look down the line, it's like, yeah, but they're missing a closer. Yeah, but Giannis isn't playing a lot of minutes. Yeah, they're just not playing tight minutes. There's just too many things that they don't have experience of going into the playoffs, with the East being wide open this year, that I just don't see. I expect an upset. I'm expecting an upset. I'm not.
What round?
I think the Heat or the Celtics will upset them. One of the two.
Okay. I mean, like I said, the way the graphics are shifted now, it doesn't look like it's going to change in the East, because I believe Bucks are 1, Toronto's 2, Celtics are 3, Miami's 4, Pacers are 5, Philly's 6. Right?
That's Celtics. Isn't that? I think that's Celtics.
Celtics and Philly in the first round. Yeah, 3 and 6. Celtics, Philly in the first round. Trust me, I've been looking at the standings like every hour, just checking to see what games are being played. We have 3 more games left, so I don't think we could fall anywhere below it, because we're a game ahead of Miami. So I believe we've locked the 3rd seed. Don't quote me, but we're going to play Philly. And I don't think Indiana can slow down because of MVP TJ Warren, and the Sixers will be locked in at 6. So potentially the Celtics get to the next round. They play Toronto. Toronto's clearly going to win. They play New Jersey, I believe, in the first round. So they're going to get there. So again, your semifinals in the Eastern Conference, if everything goes according to the favorites, right now it's Milwaukee gets there to play Indiana. Again, I honestly can't decide between Indiana and Miami. It'd be Indiana or Miami. And on your other side, you have Toronto versus Boston. And then the winners of those will basically land in your conference championship. So your conference championship could either be Milwaukee versus Toronto, or Milwaukee versus Boston, or Miami could knock out the Bucks, and then you have Miami or the Pacers in the conference championship. I don't know, man. I'm excited. Basketball's back. It's so great. I can't even predict it, honestly. I just can't wait for the playoffs. The playoffs are a week away. I know next Monday it starts it, so I honestly can't wait.
I'm getting my popcorn ready. NBA's back. NBA playoffs are back. The East is going to be a clinic. It is wide open. But, Carl, thank you for joining me. And if you want to shout out the hit list.
No doubt, man. Thank you to everyone following the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. Please make sure you check us out Wednesdays live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We're also going to be doing an NBA first-round prediction show. I know Falco will be joining us on that one. Stay tuned for that on Monday. 800 followers on the gram. Get us to 1,000. That's the road. Also, check out the Falco Takeaway. You're doing an incredible job. I'm so proud of the progress you've made in 3 months. He got his own T-shirt now, making me look bad. I don't even have my own shirt. But keep doing you, man. You're doing an awesome job.
Thank you. Thanks for watching the Falco Takeaway. For more daily sports content, please follow me on the Falco Takeaway on Instagram and YouTube. And be sure to check me out on the Sports Hit List and 6048 Sports.